If you're a content creator looking for a device to edit 4K, 6K, 8K video, Adobe Premiere, After Effects, DaVinci Resolve, this may not be the product for you. If you're a gamer and all you care about is drop frame rates while you're playing, this is not the device for you. If you are someone who's not into bleeding edge technology and you like to go for something more tried and proven, this may not be the product for you. However, if you are into content consumption, someone who loves to watch Netflix, YouTube, Disney Plus, Hulu, you like to browse the web, look at your PowerPoint presentations, you like to see your emails on a beautiful large display, do some light photo editing, some light video editing, this may be the product for you. And if you're someone who likes to bring a product to a client's office for a presentation and make them go, what is that? That looks awesome, then this may be the product for you. I've been testing out the ZenBook Fold 17-inch OLED for the past few weeks, and I have fallen in love with this device, even though it has shortcomings and it is a first gen, somewhat of a prototype product, if you would call it that. But I love where Asus is going with this. This is the future of laptops, and it has made me really excited to see where this form factor goes in the next couple of years. I'm not gonna talk about specs because I did a previous video on that, but what I'm gonna talk to you about is what it's like to use on a daily basis, the pros and the cons, because there are some cons of this thing, okay? So let's get down to talking about that. First and foremost, how I use a laptop when I'm not in the studio here, because I have my MacBook Pro M1 Max, which I'm using to edit these videos and sound design and images and all that kind of stuff. When I'm not doing that, what I tend to do is just browse the web like most people. I watch a lot of YouTube. I do watch some Netflix. I edit photos on Lightroom, a little bit on Photoshop as well. I'll use Luminar, AI, depending, and that's how I sort of use my laptop on a daily basis. For me, I gotta say that it handles most of those tasks pretty well. There are some times that it does stutter. I mean, it's a 12th gen Intel i7 U chip, so it's meant for power efficiency, not power performance. You will notice at times that if you try to stress this out, it won't hold up. But if you go into it going, look, this is gonna be like a daily laptop for me, like a work laptop. If I'm gonna do PowerPoint presentations, emails, open up some documents, watch some content, it's gonna be more than adequate for you. Now, in terms of battery performance on this, if I'm doing a lot of photo editing where the screen's on constantly and I'm doing a lot of tasks, then the power is gonna drop significantly, and I would get about 4 to 5 hours. If I'm kind of just doing medial tasks, about 6 to 7, thereabouts. It's not too bad. It's not gonna be a class-leading performer out there, but it will do the job. You gotta take in consideration the form factor on this. The battery, the processor, everything is inside this very relatively thin 17.3 inch display. So it's not gonna be a powerhouse in any respect, but it will do the job that you need it to do. You do need to charge the keyboard separately from the ZenBook Fold, which is a little bit of a hindrance at times because do you bring 2 chargers? I mean, what do you do? There's been times where I was using this and the keyboard died on me, then I ended up having to use the screen keyboard, which isn't a deal breaker because it is touch. It'd be nice if there was induction charging, so when you do put the keyboard onto the Fold through the magnets, that it would actually charge the keyboard itself, so you didn't have to worry about that. So you plug in one port and it charges everything. Perhaps they'll do that in Gen 2. Let's talk about that keyboard for a second here. Now, the key travel is actually quite nice on this, and the trackpad's pretty decent. It's not the worst I've tried on Windows devices, but it's not the best, but it does do the job quite well. Speaking of which though, when you are in laptop mode, it's a little bit unfortunate because it does sort of make it a bit thick. So if I'm gonna try to show this to you right here, okay, you can see how thick that is. So you might think, well, is that really that bad, Bobby? When you consider it, your hand's got to go up a little bit higher than normal. So now laptops have gotten thinner and it's made it more comfortable for the wrist. So what I tend to do is I tend to take the keyboard off and I just set it here on the table, and it makes it much more comfortable for me to type. And that allows me to also make this display going from 12.5 inches when it's folded up to now 17.3 inches, and you actually have yourself a desktop workstation because everything is inside the display. Your keyboard is connected via Bluetooth. You can connect a mouse via Bluetooth, so you are going to be good to go. And you have 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports on here, but they are placed in a very odd position. No matter which way you go, you got one on top and one on the side, and even when you go into laptop mode, one on top and one on the side, and it's kind of going, why didn't you just put them both on the side? Food for thought, maybe Gen 2. And you do have a headphone jack. Yes, you do, because sometimes we want a headphone jack. But nowadays Bluetooth is getting so good, do we actually need it? Depends. If you're doing audio monitoring, you need a headphone jack. In terms of the camera on this is what's interesting. The camera's good, by the way, but it's on the side when you have it in this position. So it's only on the top when you are going in laptop mode. Okay, then you got your camera right here, right? Which is part and parcel, but if you want to do this, then you got to go with the camera. It's kind of a pain. It's not that easy to do with one hand. I'm trying to do it for this review, but it's not that easy. Then you got to look on this side, and it's kind of reminiscent of the iPad, how they have that set up there as well. And it shoots in 1080, which is great. You can adjust the exposure, white balance. You can, of course, set it in different resolutions. And I'm looking to the side here because I have it with the display Bluetooth keyboard separate, as I was mentioned earlier. I have to look at the side, which is a little bit odd. It would be nice if I had a camera here versus here, but it is what it is. Here's the quality, and it's not too bad. What do you think? In terms of the crease on the display, you're wondering, do you see it? You do see it. I mean, but when the screen's on, you don't really see it at all because the screen is so bright and vibrant and it's so beautiful to look at. I mean, you don't even notice this crease at all. It just goes away. I mean, this display is the star of the show, and that's why I've really enjoyed using it, is because it's so bright, it's so vibrant, colors pop, the, Dolby Vision, Dolby Audio. I mean, the speaker systems sound great on this thing. It just is amazing to use. It's so good to watch content on this thing. It really is. Asus makes some really good displays, and this foldable OLED display is right up there. This is really, really impressive. So it is plastic on the covering of this. So if you thought about using a stylus, you can, but from what I understand, you have to use a stylus with a specific knob to the front of it because it is plastic, so you don't want to scratch it versus glass. But, again, it's 17.3 inches, so maybe it's a little bit hard to do glass at this point in time. Maybe Gen 2 they will. Who knows? But as a first gen device, it is begging for a stylus because there's many times throughout this past couple weeks I've been using it where, while this kickstand does have a little bit of, you can adjust the position on it slightly from going straight up to on an angle, it'd be nice to kind of go down to almost like you're using it to draw, or you want to sketch something, or if you want to show somebody something, it'd be kind of cool to do that. You know what I mean? It'd be nice if they had that surface kind of hinge that they've really perfected over the years. That's really great. And it'd be nice if they could do that with this because that would really help this out a lot. But overall, the bezels on the side are prominent there, but they don't really bother me so much because, again, you have to have the keyboard magnetized to it. You have to have a camera system in there. Some people will complain, but then everybody complains about something, right? But to me, the bezels do not get in the way whatsoever because the screen is so beautiful that you don't even notice the bezels. They just disappear. And you're just focused on your content. And it's just, yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Besides the size and the weight and carrying it around, which can be a little bit cumbersome, and this sleeve here, which has no strap or handle to it, which is a little unfortunate that Asus didn't include that, and no pouch to put the power cables in it, by the way, so you got to put that somewhere else. It's been fun, and I have to say, for a device like this, as I mentioned earlier, this is a bleeding edge technology first gen device. This is where laptops and tablets are going to go into the future, where they're going to be a convergence device, where you're going to be able to, it can be what you want when you want it to be. And we're already starting to see that now with the iPads and the Surface products from Microsoft. But what Asus is doing here is a step beyond. It's just they have to refine it. But if you have the budget and you have the means and you're willing to take that risk, you're gonna have a lot of fun with this. And I think the moment that you open up this display and you start watching content, you're gonna be like, holy cow, man, this is fun to use. And that's how I've been for the last couple of weeks. I really, really enjoyed it, and it's gonna be sad to give it back, but that's part and parcel with reviewing products. You gotta give them back. Those are my thoughts on the ZenBook Fold 17-inch OLED. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Are you looking to pick one up? Any questions you have, I'll try to answer them for you. I didn't talk about gaming. I didn't talk about any hardcore video editing because this is not the device for it, as I mentioned earlier. But outside of that, hit me up and I'll answer those questions. And if you like this video, check out more of our reviews right here.